How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. What brings you in?
So, I guess I've been having some issues with my mom in the past couple of months, but it's kind of been ongoing since like my teenage years.
Okay. So I'm going to take some notes.
Okay.
If that sounds okay.
Yes.
So you've been having some problems with your mother. Did you
Mhm.
come to try to improve that relationship today?
Yes, I have tried, but just how we are as people, we don't
Okay.
necessarily get along. Like, we kind of clash in our personalities. So
Okay.
it's kind of hard to completely change a person, you know.
Yeah, I totally understand that. And I
Mhm.
know that when your personalities kind of clash, that can be incredibly frustrating.
Yes, it is.
So I think something I would like to work on with you today is what we call the interpersonal model.
Okay.
So the goal is to just kind of change the patterns that you your negative patterns in relationships, and increase the overall support that you give and get from all the relationships that you have. So hopefully you can take what you learn
Okay.
and apply it to your relationship with your mother, but also
Okay.
relationships with others.
Okay.
So it's just important to note that all relationships cause some kind of feeling. If you've got a positive relationship, you're going to get that love and happiness from it. And if you have a negative one, you're going to get anger and upsets
Mm-hmm.
from that. And that's
Yes.
completely normal. So one thing to note is you and I even have a relationship as your therapist. And it's key for me to understand how you form your relationships with
Mhm.
your mom and with others, so that I can help you communicate what your needs and concerns are with them, and hopefully I can give you feedback about the ways that might not be so healthy in your current relationships, and hopefully you can apply that.
Okay.
So does that sound good?
Yes, that sounds
Wonderful. So what are some of the specific situations that you can think of?
So, I guess recently I've been planning a trip to study abroad, and she's been helping me financially because I can't afford it myself. But we have just really clashing ideas on what we should be doing and how I should be flying, and anytime I try to discuss it with her, she just kind of disregards my opinions, and it's really frustrating because in the end it is my trip, and I am paying for part of it, and I want her help, but I also want to be listened to, and she just doesn't listen to me.
Right. So with this trip that you're going on, you're just really frustrated because it's your trip, but because she's helping, maybe you feel like you kind of have to listen to her, but she won't listen to you?
Right. It's
Okay.
more I guess when we're planning it, she just spends, or she wants most of it to be her decision. So she wants 75% of it to be her decision, and 25% to be mine. And I feel like maybe it should be more equal, but since she is paying for probably the majority of it, I feel like maybe she should have more say, but I still want to be heard.
Okay. I completely understand how frustrating that could be to feel like you're not being listened to.
Yeah.
So you're feeling frustrated. How does she really make you feel?
Well, I guess I love my mom because she's my mom.
Of course.
But I don't always really like her most of the time.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is almost like that typical phrase, I love her, but I don't like her.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, she's my mom, so I have to love her, but I just can't always enjoy her company, which is upsetting, to say the least, because I do want to have a good relationship with her, which is a reason why.
Yeah, I completely understand. It's always, especially when it comes to a familial relationship, you want to enjoy that person's company.
Yes.
You're their family.
I'm stuck with them for the rest of my life.
Of course. Well, so I'm kind of noticing that when you're explaining this to me, you get very animated almost. Your body kind of closes off at some point, and
It'll.
Okay. So sometimes you seem really closed off when you talk about, like, maybe the way that she makes you feel. Like, when you told me that you love her, but you don't necessarily like her. But when you're explaining these situations, you're very almost open. So I think what that kind of tells me is that you needed that release. And maybe there is a little bit of love there. That you love her and you like her. Does that make sense?
Yes, I do like my mom. Usually, but, well, I don't even say usually. I do like her, but most of the time I just don't. She lives in Missouri, I live here. It's nice now because I don't have to communicate with her as much, and I feel like since I've moved, our relationship has gotten better, but it's still not as good as it could be.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, but is it that you feel almost like when you live with her, that's when the tension builds up more?
Yeah.
It's because you're in those close quarters?
I wasn't necessarily, so whenever I moved out and went to college, I was gone in Arkansas, and then I moved back to Mizzou. And so Columbia and my hometown are 30 to 45 minutes apart.
Okay.
And so she would want to see me a lot, which I understand because I'm a kid and I wanted to see her too, but we would always argue. We would always get into little just disagreements, and she would say hurtful things to me, and it just kind of built up to the point where I felt like I needed to just leave and move. And so that's why I'm here also.
Okay. So you feel that the way you, in a way, fixed it was by leaving.
And having that distance, the healthy distance.
Okay. And do you think maybe that almost, instead of fixing it, almost pushed it under the rug? In a sense?
Not necessarily, because whenever I would go back and visit, we don't get in as many arguments as we would have in the past. Just because I think that she recognizes that I am making good decisions, and even if they aren't what she wants me to do or what she'd like me to do, they aren't harmful to me and are benefiting me in some ways.
Right. So I'm going to give you some homework just to kind of work on that with her and see if your relationship does kind of improve the way that you want it to. One thing I'd like to start with is perspective taking, so empathizing with her, and vice versa, and hopefully you guys can kind of ease the tension during an argument with this. And so what that means is that you're just going to, hear what she has to say and kind of think about, well, if I was my mom and she was my daughter and this was happening, this is I understand how she would feel. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Another thing that kind of goes along with that is what we call mirroring, or just summarizing each other's statements.
Okay.
So you've noticed that I've kind of been doing it with you throughout this session. I hear what you say, and I say, this is what I'm hearing, is this correct? Just try to practice doing those kinds of things, and I think that those will help ease the situation and help both of you communicate a lot better and get the point across that you wanted to get across. Lastly, when you kind of finish hearing and understanding each other, just talk about I statements when you're working on mirroring and expressing your opinions. And so don't say, you made me feel this way, like you did this. Just say, I feel hurt because I think that you don't trust me, or whatever it is that you're feeling.
Okay.
So try to practice those. And just in the middle of the argument, see if it helps to calm things down and just settle the situation rather than feeling that you need that distance instead. Okay. But it's okay if you need to leave the room too. So yeah, we'll go ahead and try that. And if you want, we can set up another session in a couple of weeks to see how it works.
Yes, that sounds great.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for coming in today.
Thank you for helping me.
Of course.